Cole as the big three. Any artist you think on the up or been out to have that title for the 2020s?
Wait, what? The 2010s had Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole as the big three. Any artist you think on the up or been out? Wait, what? The 2010s had Drake, Cole, and Kendrick as the big three. Any artist you think on the up or been out to have that title for the 2020s? I mean, the funny thing is, there have been artists over the 2010s that have been. I mean, Kendrick's probably in that space alone. I guess in popularity, if you wanted to talk about Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick, like cool, but Kanye would have been ahead of Cole. Like, you could swap Cole out of that conversation and easily throw Kanye into that, and then that would be the top three. Like, I'm not trying to hate on Cole still, but I don't feel like he was in there.
I guess it's just extremely boring. Half of these beats could have gone to other artists, tbh.
I wouldn't say half of them could have gone to other artists. You really didn't need to. You know, like, going back to what I was saying, hold on. You know, Big Crit, I feel like was a more consistent and more skillful artist / MC. It's just that some of them are just more popular. I don't know in what vein you're looking at that in terms of the big three. Are you talking about just pure skill wise? I don't know what you mean. I don't know who said Freddie Gibbs. That's crazy. We got Travis. Fuck you, mean? That's crazy. Jid, Tyler, and Kendrick run the 2020s? Absolutely not. And I'm a huge fan of Jid. Jid don't have the popularity. I feel like if this is the conversation or this is the place that you're going to go with this, Crit over Cole, 100%. If you're not putting Big Crit over J. Cole, there's something wrong with you, in my opinion, bro. There just is. Big Crit has proven himself to be a much more capable MC. And I still like J. Cole, though. You know? They both had a Drake. Dirk over JID, oh my G. Wait, nah. Dirk is not over Jid. He's not. It's Lil Baby Dirk in 21. No. I mean, so far, if you going like, I don't know who it would be, to be honest. I want to give somebody shine, but like, there isn't really I don't think there'll ever be like another big three. I don't think it'll happen. We got artists that are big for like their own lane, but I feel like my criteria, I feel like Drake was actually in that conversation by himself. There was no big three, I feel like, to be honest. I don't really think there was ever a big three. I think people looked at Kendrick, Drake, and Cole like it has to be three. I don't know why.
Tyler is 3B.
But Drake was really in that conversation by himself. Like, he had clones, he had babies.
Can we come clean that J. Cole is a better rapper than Kendrick the last few years?
No.
Even Drake is low-key better than Kendrick music-wise.
Okay, you're trolling. Uzi and Cardi were a top 5 duo. I mean, I think they made some entertaining records together. They have. Yeah, he just got on here and lied. I don't know why he lied like that. But I could look at Drake's influence like till this very day. I'm not saying Kendrick wasn't influential, but like Kendrick's pen was so detailed that he really couldn't be copied. You understand what I'm saying? To a point where you're like, oh my God, Kendrick clone? Like, people tried to emulate him. Cool. He definitely had like his little influential like run, I guess. But like, it wasn't like so many niggas. Like, even to this very moment, I'm still looking at niggas like, oh my God, this is Drake. I say the same thing about J. Cole. J. Cole and Kendrick didn't have that level of influence like Drake did. They just didn't. Right, you got to put in too much work to be a Kendrick clone, just like JT just said. It's way too much. I feel like it's way too much work to emulate that. It was that, like, Kendrick is in a class of his own because he can't really be replicated, but I feel like a good portion of Drake's, appeal was that it was so relatable. And then you got so many other versions of it. Like, so many people was trying to do the Drake for a little while. How was Cole influential? I don't think Cole was influential at all. There's people who sound like Cole, but I don't think it's intentional. Is Corday a J. Cole clone? Yeah. But I don't know. He's so much lesser of a J. Cole. Like, he's so much lesser of an MC. Like, it's really not even funny. I guess I could say the same thing about Jack Harlow, too, though. I could say the same thing about Jack Harlow, to an extent. Smino is more consistent than any of the artists out right now. Bro, what do you want? Oh, my God. Hold on. Too much work to be a successful conscious rapper to try to copy people like that. That's what I think. Young Thug has the most underrated influence. If you want to talk about who actually is like the big three of the last generation, I will put Drake. But honestly speaking, I would say Thug, Future, Wayne, and Kanye. Maybe I'll take it. Wait, I might take back Wayne. Wayne might have been a little bit before that. But I would put Future, Thug, and Kanye, to be honest. I'll put Future, Thug, and Kanye as like who I feel was the most influential, to be honest. And I would put Drake in the conversation too, but I would eliminate Cole and Kendrick from that convo. In terms of influence, yeah, in terms of influence. So old niggas, Future and Thug, dominated the 2010s. Maybe not to the chart topping like the charts in like the real life world, like they work different. They're not like synonymous. They don't go, they're not parallel to one another. You know what I'm saying? So like, I would say I don't know about Travis. Chief Keef as well. Chief Keef dominated the 2010s too. Well, yeah, he did. Isn't the big three supposed to represent different parts of a certain genre? That's why people always want a big three in every generation. I feel like the big three conversation has like, I don't know what it's supposed to be honest, but I feel like it's been changed so many different times, from the top three most skilled MCs to the top three most influential MCs to the top three MCs that have the most star power. Like, you don't know what people's rubric is. So for me, I would just go based off of influence, who's dominating, who I hear the most. And honestly, who I heard the most musically within the 2010s, Drake will be in that conversation, Kanye, Thug, Future, and that's really it. You could argue a whole bunch of other people in there too. I just wouldn't put Cole and Kendrick in that conversation. Kendrick is in his own league. Cole doing his thing. I just don't feel like Cole had the skill or the influence to be in that conversation. Kendrick does have the skill, but I don't feel like he has the influence to be in that convo. So that's just what it is. To me. Going based off of anime, big three is the most popular rappers all being out at the same time. What about Nicki Minaj? Who sounds like Nicki though? Even though he's mid, Travis definitely was heard nonstop. I didn't hear a lot of people emulating Travis Scott. I heard a couple people, don't get me wrong. I did hear a couple people, but like I didn't hear his influence like that. If anything,
Rappers who dominate the 2010s: Drake, Future, Chief Keef, Eminem, Ye and Wayne and Nicki.
Lie. Well, dominate, I guess, yeah. If you want to say dominate the charts, dominate musically. That's just not my rubric. I'm looking at who's most influential. Like, who was the most inspirational during that time? Who inspired the most people to come out, rap, like, not leech, but attach themselves to this person sonically or musically or even conceptually. And, you know what I'm saying, there's a trickle-down effect. He tried to throw M in there. I would say you could put Eminem in that conversation as far as domination, but I just wouldn't put him in that conversation in terms of, influence at that time in the 2010s. Maybe early 2000s, yeah, but not in the 2010s. And I wouldn't put Nicki Minaj in that conversation either. But again, if we're talking purely domination, then the people he listed, ain't nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't even see. I'm not gonna say that one. I'm not even gonna say that one. Cuddy's influential. I wouldn't say that. Honestly, I think Tyler was probably more influential than Cuddy. Tyler and Earl. Some Odd Future niggas was more influential than Cuddy, in my opinion. You think Cuddy isn't influential? I didn't say Cuddy wasn't influential. I said that I don't think he should be in that conversation for most influential out of the 2010s. Like, he shouldn't be in that conversation for me. That's just me, though. Mac Miller? Who did Mac Miller influence? There would be no Tyler without Cudi. How? What am I missing about how Cudi has influenced Tyler? How would there be no Tyler without Cudi? Cudi influenced 808s, that influence lies through him. I think y'all are severely overestimating Cudi's impact to Kanye. I'm not saying he wasn't, but I think y'all are severely overestimating that, to be honest. Tyler never once said Cudi influenced him, but Cudi absolutely violates Tyler the Mid. I don't think so at all. Psychedelic track specifically, Travis' style was literally everywhere after 2018 and even a little after 2015. Yeah, but a big portion of that style where he got trap in general was influenced from people like Thug, from people like Future, from people like who else am I thinking of? Damn, I'm missing the name. But Travis, it was like a hand-in-hand thing. Travis wouldn't have had that sound without the style that he was influenced by. Influence from Thugger Moore, Rocky. Rocky was definitely influential stylistically. I think Rocky's influence was everywhere. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that Cudi inspiration or that Cudi influence. I'm not seeing that, to be honest. That's just me though. Maybe it's there, and I'm just like overlooking it, or I'm missing it because I'm just really not a Kid Cudi fan like that. But I'm a big fan of Kendrick, and I'm able to see where he is. I feel like on the totem pole or not. I feel like Travis' sound was even more descended from Cudi and Kanye. After a certain point, he had a lot. Travis just had a lot of influences, though. I'm not saying that Southern hip hop was his only influence, but he clearly is very inspired by it. Cudi's Man on the Moon influenced Travis, Tyler, on all these rappers that are culture bending per se. What did Man on the Moon do in terms of influence? If I were to go back and listen to some of those records, they sound absolutely nothing like what the landscape of Tyler or some of Travis's work sound like. Nigga said, no offense, melodic rap. You could say Eminem, but he started the worst wave of white rap ever. Speaker knockers. Travis always cites Cudi as an influence. That's why people dick riding Cudi. There's nothing wrong with a rapper like basically saying like I'm inspired by this person or I was influenced by this person. There's nothing wrong with them saying that. But I'm saying somebody being influenced and then mentioning it doesn't make them the most influential because of that. Rage culture? What the fuck? You think rage culture was influenced from Cudi? First to rap about his feelings. Cudi was one of the first to rap about his feelings. What? No, he wasn't. There's generations of niggas that came before Cudi. What do you mean? Day and Night isn't influential. Day and Night is a great Kid Cudi song. I just don't feel like what conversation are we having? Like great song versus great influence. If I listen to Day and Night, what song would you say, or what artist would you say is like greatly inspired by that? Tupac was really the first one who did it at the highest levels? No, he wasn't. It was mad niggas before Tupac. You think Exhale great influence for a minute? SoundCloud era? No. Well, I don't know. Maybe SoundCloud era might be a little bit different. I didn't look at X's music like it was that influential though. It was a big moment. It was definitely a big moment, but you know, there were so many moving parts during the SoundCloud era that I don't feel like could be attributed to just one person. Like the rabbit hole for the SoundCloud era goes so deep. I feel like it like narrowing it down to one person is just so, you're always gonna miss something. I feel like with that era, I feel like something's always being missed. So I would never attribute it to just like one person for real. Juice was the leader of emo rap. Abso-fucking-lutely not. Shawn Legend. You ever think there could be a resurgence of that era, of the SoundCloud era? Absolutely not. They're finding a new way to like demotivate artists from doing shit independently as much as humanly possible. And now AI being into the mix is gonna make that even harder. What else got taken down recently? It was a website for you to get mixtapes. I forgot what it was called though. That era is never happening again though. Dat Piff, yeah. That era is never that era was never coming back. It's just never coming back. Spinrilla and Dat Piff got taken down. And no one uses SoundCloud anymore. They do, but like they don't. Like SoundCloud might as well be up out the way too. What rappers do I think have an MF Doom influence? A lot of them. But not to the point where you could like trickle it back down. What about audio? Wait, you don't have to be. Hold on, let me see what he's talking about. Wait, no, I'm gonna just go back into your logs. I ain't even gotta look at all that. You don't have to be derivative for influence to show. I think Cudi opening that landscape and rap to vocalize the way he did about like depression and shit, and the psychedelic way he did was very influential, especially at the time he did it. Who was doing it though? That's my question. Like, who was like modeling themselves after Cudi based off of what he said? I'm not saying that he had to be derivative, but you're listing out very specific ways in which you feel Cudi was influential, and I'm failing to see where those influences manifested. Like who, especially if you want to talk about Travis, for instance. Travis is the least personal rapper in human history that I feel like is as popular as he is. We know little to nothing about this man. He's not talked about his depression, his mental state, where he's at in life at all. But you want to give him the credit. You want to give Cudi the credit for like that influence for what? They sound completely different too. I know you're saying that, and Travis has said that, but I'm still failing to see where the influence is at. Melodic rap and alternative rap was Cudi's whole wheelhouse. Maybe alt rap and melodies, he did have that, but he wasn't the first to do that. He wasn't the first to do that. They both hum. Oh my God. Some of you niggas said they both hum. Are we talking about influence as in biting? No, I'm not talking about biting. I'm talking about literal multiple styles that you could say that you could see the exact same type. Like if we're gonna talk about influence, that's all I mean. Like I don't see in what real ways. I know they said it, but I just don't see in what ways like that manifested. For you to consider him the most influential, you're listing off one person. I don't even have to go back and forth about the Travis conversation because I know there are instances of Cudi's discog and his musical style that have influenced Travis. Even though I don't feel like they're that high of a degree, like they're that much, there is still some influence there. But somebody's arguing that Cudi is one of the most influential, just out of the whole like bracket of people, and like I feel like he's one of the least. Like what has he done beyond that? And there are so many people that did that before Cudi. I get what you're saying though, but like obviously Travis isn't gonna say I was inspired by Tribe Called Quest if he's listened to Cudi within the first few years of his life or whatever the fuck, or whenever he listened to Kid Cudi, like obviously. But Cudi influenced. Okay, you know what? Too many people just listen to their favorite artists. Yeah, like it's a difference between like, yo, this is like I like this nigga a lot, like Cudi too, but not most. But I say he's top 15. You say Cudi is top 15 most influential artists? Most influential? I can't agree. Well, I think an artist has to listen to them for them to be credited with influence. Like, would you say Young Lean is more influential than Lil B? No. But it's not necessarily about whether or not they listen to them. It's about what their styles and their strengths were versus what the landscape looks like. And if I'm a look at that, then boom, I'm going right to Young Thug. Boom, I'm going right to Kanye. Boom, I'm going to Wayne for a little while. Boom, I'm going to Future. Boom, I'm going to however many other people there are that I could think of. There's mad niggas. Cardi is influential right now. Cudi over Pusha, and I love them both. Why are we comparing Kid Cudi and Pusha T? You just saying shit. Kevin Gates inspired niggas or influenced niggas to drink bitches pee. Bro, Rock Marciano is more influential than Cudi. That's not a bad take. In terms of size and the amount of people, I don't feel like that's a bad take. Man on the Moon 2 is still Cudi's best album. I'm not saying Cudi ain't got good music. That's not what I'm saying. Just shampoo, time to deep condition. Really finger your scalp. Make sure you get deep in there, because that's when that conditioner feel like the best. We can read why Cudi is really the influential, because Shawn not even a fan. I don't have to be a fan to recognize his influence. What artist had the least influence? I don't know. I can't even think about nobody, to be honest. Saw a debate on Twitter the other week, Joey Badass versus J. Cole as rapper, so you think is better? J. Cole is better than Joey Badass. That's just a fact. I'll fuck with Joey Badass, though. But J. Cole is better. I'm listening to J. Cole over Joey Badass. I look at it like a course of influence, like DNA, like the way Cudi vocalizes in his pop rap style definitely opened the styles for people like Uzi, Rocky, and even Drake to really find their styles. I say this with the thought that Cudi influenced 808s. Yeah, but Kanye was still heavily influential before 808s. And having a part in something that ultimately would have an incredible influence over the next generation doesn't mean that you are the stepping stool for that influence. Like Cudi having a hand in some of 808s, I don't feel like immediately means that I should credit him with the influence that the album overall ended up having. And I don't think that's what you're saying, but I feel like that's what the point leads to. Joey got better bars. Who's the better artist, Cudi or Travis? I like Travis's stuff more, but then I think about what does Travis really be doing? Like that's really what the conversation I be wanting to have about Travis Scott. Like, what do he be doing? Cause like I could say he's better, quote unquote, but like Cudi, the effort that Cudi puts in, like I don't know what Cudi does either.
What about Young Boy? The pack of this generation, he is a god MC and very influential.
I honestly think Young Boy's vocal style and like the energy he puts into his tracks will put him above a lot of niggas. Like it's a meme to kind of hate Young Boy, and I don't like a lot of his records, but he's also better than a lot of niggas. I can say that. Like he's far more entertaining than a lot of niggas' favorite MCs. Astroworld top 10 albums in the 2010s, what we on? Not true. Not true. But that's your opinion. I can give you 10 albums like right now that are better than Astroworld. I'm not saying Astroworld is bad though. Astroworld definitely not bad. I wouldn't say it's mid. I could give at least 100. How do I feel about Polo G? He's good. I like Polo G. I hope he becomes more adventurous though. Like, Polo G is too traditional for him to really skyrocket in popularity. Although he has had a lot of hits and some really great success. So, like, he don't need it, obviously, but I think he just needs to really break out of his shell. If he does, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. I like Polo G though a lot. Appreciate the sub, by the way, bro.